Hey everybody, Miss Dietrich, we're looking at question number 2. It says a rectangular prism is shown, and they give you this. Select 3 sentences that are true. So a couple reminders before we go through the choices. I want you to remember that for every front that you have, there's an equal and congruent back. So let me move that out of the way. For every right side that you have, there's an equal and congruent left side. And for every bottom, there's an equal and congruent top. And that's important you understand that, because I think one of the questions sort of demands that you need to have full understanding of that. All right, so let's go back to the formula that we've been talking about in class 2. There's 2 formulas that we've looked at. This is the one that most students seem to like just because it helps them to understand that we have 2 of everything. So the formula is written right here. Surface area equals 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. So one strategy, if you just need to find the surface area of the thing, which they do want, right? They want you to figure out the surface area and they give you some choices, is you need to pick a formula or pick a strategy to figure that out. So let's call 11 the length. Let's use purple here. We'll call that the length, that's an L. We'll call this the width, and let's call this the height, and we can substitute these numbers into this formula. All right, so we have surface area equals 2. Anytime we see an L, we'll substitute in this number right here, 11. So we have an L here, we're going to substitute an 11 there. And anytime we see a W, we're going to substitute this number, which is 5. All right, over here again, we have an L, substitute in the 11 under the L. And now we have an H. So H we're saying is 6 plus 2. All right, so the width, we're going with 5 on the width. And for the height, we're going with 6. All right, now another strategy we talked about, I call it the Y formation. After we do the formula, then we'll go back to the Y formation and we'll talk about how you can use that. All right, so if we finish up what we have here, we have to find all of the products or the areas of each of the colors that I have represented here. If we do 11 times 5, that's going to be equal to 55. And if we do 11 times 6, that's going to be equal to 66. And if we do 5 times 6, that's going to be equal to 30. All right, remember you have to follow order of operations. All right, so the next step would be to recognize that we have 2 of these. We have 2 of the 55. We have 2 of the 66s. We have 2 of the 30s. So let's go back to our image and look at that. Now, if we had to find the area of this red piece, wouldn't we be multiplying 11 times 6, right? Because if this is 6, that means that this is 6. So the red has an area of 66. And remember, there's 2 of those. There's one in the front and there's one in the back. So if we find what 66 times 2 is, that'll cover both pieces. So I'll put it in red just so that stands out. All right, and then if we look at this green piece, it's 5 going this way and 6 going this way, right? So we said that that's 30. Let's put it in the box there. All right, so we know that we have 2 of those, and we should be able to do that in our head. 2 times 30 would be 60 to cover the left side and the right side. And then we have this top piece, which we know to be an 11 by 5, because remember the top and the bottom are the same. These 2 are the same. 11 by 5, which we know is the piece that's 55. Let's put the 55 right here. And if we have 2 of those, if we multiply 55 times 2, that equals 110. So I'm going to put that in blue so it's color-coded. So surface area equals 110 plus 132 plus 60 to get the actual surface area. Now, when you add these 3 numbers together, right, it's going to either be this number or this number, and you'll eliminate whichever one it's not. All right, now we should look at the other answer choices because we have to select 3 that are true. The face with the greatest area is 66. Is that true? Because we have a face that has 66. We have one, or I should say we have two faces with 66. We have two faces with a 55 and two faces with a 30. So that seems to be true. B, the face with the least area is 55. Is that true? Because don't we have one that's a little bit less? Or we should say two, right? Because we have the equal and congruent left and right side. Look at choice C. Each face has one congruent face. And choice D, none of the faces are congruent. Now, I want to remind you what I said initially. Remember, if this is 30, this is 30. If this is 66, so is the back. And if the top is 55, so is the bottom. All right, now finish up by adding these together. And I want to remind you that another formula that we looked at is the idea if you find, we call this the Y formation. And if you find all the areas of one of the faces, another option, just in case you're confused about another formula that we talked about in class, is to take, these original numbers, which were 66 plus 55 plus 30. And if you added these numbers together and got some number and then multiplied it by 2, that's another way to find the correct surface area. All right, good luck finishing this up.